Most people have tried to budget at least once. They sit down, make a spreadsheet, list out their expenses, and tell themselves, this time I'm going to stick to it. And for a week or two it works, and then life happens. Something unexpected pops up. The numbers stop matching the plan. And before long, the budget gets ignored or abandoned completely. So people start thinking, well, something must be wrong with them. But the truth is, most budgets fail for a very simple reason. They were never designed for real life. Most budgets will look clean on paper. A few major categories get listed: rent or mortgage, auto, groceries, utility, maybe a savings line. But something interesting happens when people actually start tracking their spending. A lot of real life expenses never made it to the budget at all. And sometimes the first time people realize this is when they start tracking their spending and think, wait, where did this come from? Things like household items, Amazon, dining out or DoorDash, small irregular purchases. The money still gets spent. It just wasn't part of the plan. So the budget starts slowly drifting away from reality. Not because the person failed, but because the budget was incomplete from the beginning. The real problem isn't budgeting. The real problem is cash flow pressure. When the money coming in barely covers the money going out. And every small surprise creates stress. A $200 expense can throw the entire month off. And when that happens, people start feeling like the budget failed. But what actually failed was the lack of breathing room in the system. There's another issue I saw quite a bit when working with clients. On paper, the numbers can look great. A budget might say $300 going to savings, $200 going to investing. But nothing actually makes that happen. The money stays in the checking account, and eventually it gets spent on something else. Or sometimes the savings accounts get used for things that really weren't emergencies. So even though the budget said money was going to savings, in reality, never became a habit. This is where systems makes a huge difference. A budget written on paper is just a plan. A system that moves money automatically is what makes the plan real. And setting this up is actually much easier than most people think. Many employers allow you to send part of your paycheck directly to a savings account. It can be as simple as telling payroll you want a small portion of each paycheck deposited into another account. Now, one thing I often recommended to clients was keeping that savings account at a different bank than their checking account. Not because it's complicated, but because it adds just enough friction. If the money sits in the same account as your checking account, or the same bank as your checking account, it's too easy to move it back and forth. But when it sits at another institution, people tend to treat it differently. It starts to feel like that money was meant to be saved. Sometimes the goal isn't to make savings easier. Sometimes the goal is to make that spending of that money a little bit harder. So before worrying about complicated budgeting systems, start with something simpler. Understand your cash flow first. Because once you have breathing room in your finances, man, everything else becomes easier to manage. And if you've ever tried to follow a budget and it worked for a while and then slowly fell apart, it probably wasn't because you lacked discipline. It may simply be that the budget was never built to match real life. If you'd like help getting a clear picture of where your money's actually going, we actually have a worksheet on the website called the Financial Snapshot. It walks through the categories people often miss when they're trying to build a budget, and you can download it for free at budgetmoney.com. We will see you in the next video.